Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Laura. Welcome to this week's BizSmart Lunch and Learn webinar. Our weekly webinars are aimed to provide advice and share knowledge amongst business owners on key business topics and specialist areas. This is part of our service to our Smart Room members. If you're not already a member or a BizSmart client and would like to access our archive of webinars, please visit our website biz-smart.co.uk and go to the Smart Room page. Our host joining me today is BizSmart Select member Stuart Avis from Audacious Creative Communications Limited. Before we start the webinar, can I ask you all to use the question mark function on your screen to post any questions that you might have, and Stu will answer them at the end of the session. So thank you, Stu, and over to you.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. Let's just click on that, haven't I?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the screen and the hang on a sec. Just want to minimize that a second. Yeah, that is. That's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll just want to answer a simple question this morning, which is how can you grow? I've started off with this slide several times before now, and it really just kind of shows what I've termed the brand canyon, which is on one side it's you, it's your business, it's your understanding of your business, your values, your ethos, your products, your services. And on the other side of the canyon are your clients, your prospects, your audience, in other words. It's their buying power, and it's how they understand you and your business, your values, your products and your services. It's how they understand your brand. And the way you bridge the gap is through communicating powerfully and effectively to your audience. And the more effective you are, the better the bridge will be, really. So here's just a quick route map for this afternoon. So we're going to just have a quick look at a few models of growth really quickly. Then we're going to look at a problem that we've been facing as a business, how we've answered it, what the result of that is, and then just kind of a summary at the end. So fairly short and sweet. But I hope that you'll be able to kind of follow. Just need to stay right at the start. This is our experience. This is very much a personal journey that I have been on. So what we've done may not necessarily be applicable for everyone. But actually, I hope that there are general lessons that each of us can learn. So let's look at growth. So growth comes in many forms, isn't it? So you've got financial growth, where you actually increase your profits, you actually bring more money into the business, and you actually grow the finances of the business. You might grow in terms of team and actually building a team of people. So moving from a one-man band to sort of 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever like that. And actually that is a very tangible way, certainly an outward way that people can see that you're growing. It may be that actually you grow in technology. So it may be that you update the tech that you use. So you might move from paper to web-based stuff or cloud solutions. It might be that you actually invest in new kit to be able to do something bigger or better or quicker or more cost effectively. It might be that you actually grow your products or your services, so you're adding in new things for your audience. It may be that actually you look to grow and actually you need to move into new premises. It might be service office block. It might actually be having an office or a building with your own name above the door. And then it might be markets, so actually moving into new marketplaces, new areas for you to try to kind of penetrate, really. So that's just kind of 6 that I thought of. I'm sure there are many other forms of growth. And the question that we've been looking at, particularly Audacious Creative, is firstly, how can we grow financially and how can we grow in size? For those of you who don't know the business, it's just me. I've got an apprentice working with me for a couple more weeks, but it has been me for the last 6 years. We celebrate our 6th birthday in September. And I wanted to grow, I wanted to be kind of more than just me ever since I started. And I knew I wasn't going to get there quickly, but I was hoping that by now we'd have kind of been there. And I just want to explain some of the journey that we've been on over the last few months, particularly, which has been quite challenging, and how in the last few weeks, we've come to resolve that issue for us. So I hope it's relevant to you. And I hope that there are some kind of universal lessons that we can learn, but also some encouragement in there as well. So the typical situation that we found ourselves in, I've just kind of called it the chicken and the egg. So we were losing out recently. We've lost out a number of quite significant game-changing tenders. The feedback we had wasn't that we were good enough or wasn't that we were in the right price bracket. It is that we were too small. I'm just one person. My imagination will only go so far. But actually, a creative team, even of 2 or 3 people, will have more imagination and a more imaginative power. And once those imaginations start growing, they start sparking off each other, and you kind of climb up this almost sort of inverted vortex where actually the ideas get better and better and better until you kind of hit on the thing that you really want to be able to deliver. Whereas on my own, my imagination will only go so far. And it was also felt, because these were organisations that we actually had existing relationships with, it's felt that we'd be overloaded if we won the work. And one of them said, actually, look, we care too much for you to be able to dump all this on you. Now, I explained to them in the tender, actually, that we're bringing some resources for that, but they still were reluctant to kind of pass that amount of work on to us. So the chicken and egg situation is this, that in order to grow, we needed to win the higher value work to pay the staff and take people on. But in order to win the work, we need to be bigger. So this nagging question in the back of my head was, how can we do it sustainably? How can we do it without breaking the bank and when funds are quite limited? And so we took an afternoon out. Josh and I took an afternoon out to do some thinking. And we looked to firstly understand where we're at, looked at our journey, and looked to kind of see where we were going. So the first thing really was, what is our primary barrier to growth? And we needed to understand that, and it's vital to recognise what are your barriers to growth? What is your glass ceiling? Is it the fact that actually you can't win the big tenders? Is it the fact that actually your office isn't big enough? Is it the fact that you haven't got the right kit? So you need to understand for you what your primary barrier or barriers to growth are. And for us, it was just the fact that we were too small. Because once you begin to understand that, you begin to create a strategy that actually really begins to overcome that and work your way around it. So what is your primary barrier to growth? The second thing we sought to understand are who are our target audience. This is a piece of work that we did with Kevin when we were on the Select program, and so that's something that we've kind of really got to grips with and have done for a while. But it was good to kind of go back and say, well, actually, who are our target audience? Who are we trying to reach, and why are we trying to reach them? What is it they need rather than what they want? And then we began to try to work out how we can meet their need. So once you've worked out what your barriers to growth is, you say, well, actually, who are we trying to reach? Who are we trying to target? How are we trying to do that? And then for us, the third thing that we sought to understand was that it's okay. So now we know what our barriers to growth is. We know who our target audience are. The third question we asked was, so how do we get their attention? How do you get the attention of your audience? You probably inhabit a very crowded market space. So how do you get their attention? And it's 2 things. It's method and message. How do you reach them? And what do you say? And I think actually what you say is more important than how you reach them. But it's essential to get both right to truly engage your target audience. So those are the 3 things that we really sought to understand and just kind of refresh and kind of get back to basics on understanding. And of course, often one series of questions then leads to another. So the next thing we sought to do was then ask some questions. And we had to become a bit of a breakthrough moment. And the first question was, well, what does every business or an organisation want? Because if you understand what people want, then you begin to understand how you begin to meet that need. And we just looked at very top level thinking and nothing particularly specific. So every business, an organisation, we hope, wants to grow and thrive. That's why we do what we do. We want to grow, we want to thrive. In whatever way growth is appropriate and relevant for us, we want to grow and we want to be successful in all that we do. So once we understand that every business wants to grow and thrive, well, how do they get to achieve that growth? Well, generally businesses tend to grow because they win higher value work or they win more work of the same value, i.e. they grow their share of the market. That's not the only way. that businesses and organisations achieve growth, but there's certainly probably two of the bigger ones. And it may be that actually, you put your prices up, so actually say you're achieving growth by doing the same products and the same quantities, but actually you're charging people more for it. But generally, it's to bring more money into the business and growing your share of the market. They're two general rules. And so once you've won that work, so the next question I asked was, how do they get to win that work or grow their share of the market? Well, as I mentioned right at the start, you win that work by engaging with the target audience across all appropriate channels in a far more effective way than they're currently doing. So what we began to look at was, so how can we really begin to help our clients and our audience achieve the growth that they want to? Well, we can help them through actually engaging with their target audience. But we also figured out that actually the questions that we were asking and answering for our clients were the same questions and answers that we needed to question and answer for ourselves. So invariably, that led to three more questions. So what does our target audience need that will make a big difference to them? And in conversely, what do we need that will make a big difference to us? And the answer is the same. We need to, and our clients and audience need to engage more powerfully and effectively with their target audience so they grow. They need to find better ways of telling their story, communicating that why. What is it that makes them different and unique in their marketplace? Why would someone choose to use their service or buy their product rather than a competitor's product? What is it that makes you different? And actually, how can you communicate that really clearly and powerfully and effectively so that actually you can generate that growth that you're looking for? Second question is this. So actually, as a business, as Audacious Creative, what can we practically do to make that difference? So this is where we began to apply what we do as a business and actually then really began to answer that for ourselves. So we can make that difference by creating the communication tools across brand, web, digital and print that actually help brands engage with their audience. It's about talking to the right people in the right way at the right time. And as we began thinking that through, we realised, well, actually, we need to be doing that more for ourselves. We need to be creating those tools that actually help our brand engage with our audience. And it's about us talking to the right people in the right way at the right time. So the questions that we are answering and asking for our clients, we'll also realise that we are asking and answering for ourselves. And then what is our message and how do we communicate it? And this will be different for every business. So our message is we can help get your audience attention and improve your audience or customer engagement. And how do you do that? Well, it's sort of just a general range of kind of marketing tools, really. Plus networking, referral marketing, social media, our website. Now for you, it may be very different methods depending on how your audience needs to be engaged with. But the message will be really important. What you say, and it is as important, if not more important, than how you say it. So that's all very wonderful, but so what we figured out thus far, this is our journey, is we worked out what our barrier to growth is. We worked out who our target audience is, and we worked out how to get their attention. We've established what every business wants. We've established what they need to achieve, how they achieve that growth, and the fact that it comes down primarily to really good audience engagement. And then lastly, we say, okay, so what do our target audience need? And what do we need? What can we do to help them? And actually, what can we do to help ourselves? And what do we say and how do we say it? So we can really engage our audience and at the same time then actually help engage our clients' audiences. So that's all very wonderful and that's great, but we've still not figured out how we can overcome our initial problem that I set out right at the start, this chicken and egg thing, about being too small, because that is our primary barrier to growth. So we've gone on this journey of understanding and learning, getting back to basics and just reviewing everything and streamlining things and kind of really getting to grips with this, but we've still not actually figured out how we can kind of break through that glass ceiling. So we did three very simple things, all that understanding and that thinking and all that head full of stuff. We simply did three things. And the first thing we did was we asked people for help and advice. I spoke to Kevin, I spoke to my marketing coach. I spoke to a recruitment consultant. So, well, what would you do? How could we broach this, break this kind of glass ceiling. And we took people's advice. We took it on board. And it's really important to ask people outside of your business for insight and help. And then the second thing we did, we devised a plan of action. We took that advice, we took that thinking, we took all their experience and expertise, and we devised a plan of action. We created a strategy that says, okay, so we know what we need to do. So actually, right, so let's create a plan and a time frame, making it all smart, so it's measurable and achievable, and it's timely, and we actually create a plan of action that actually begins to help us meet the challenge of being too small. And then it's great to talk, but actually, if you just simply talk and you don't take action, it's just a load of hot air. And chatting with one the people that I asked for help and advice with, he said, look, you just need to go and do it. You need to kind of just take a bit between the teeth and just go and do it. So we did. So the result was that actually we are now in the process of hiring, which is really great. I've got interviews with 6 people next week. That will be whittled down to a further 3. And then sort of probably beginning of September, we'll actually be holding formal interviews and everything. So we're starting off small, it's sustainable, but actually the result of all this process is we are now in the process of actually hiring someone, which is really exciting, and the quality of the candidates is frankly astonishing. And we couldn't have done that if we hadn't had the help. So to summarize, here are 6 simple steps, 6 practical things that you can do to help you grow and achieve the growth that you want to. The first is take time out. That was the first thing we did. You will never grow and thrive if you don't take time to work on your business. So take that time out. We basically shut the business for nothing. We turned the phones off, turned the email off, and we just talked. And I talked to other people, and we spent time just thinking and being creative in our thinking and asking those questions. You need to understand what your primary barrier to growth is. If you don't know why you're not growing, you'll never work out how to meet and how to grow. Be honest with yourself. We had to be really honest with ourselves. You had to ask questions, and we had to try to be objective in our answers. And that's why asking people outside of a business is really important, because actually they can be objective in a way that you just physically cannot, because you're living it and breathing it all the time. So work out what your primary barrier to growth is and be honest with yourself and as well. Ask for help. And as I said before, never be afraid to seek advice and learn from others. We're always on this journey of learning from others, and you can contribute to other people and they can contribute to you. 4, create a plan, a strategy that will help you overcome those barriers, whatever they might be. Question, challenge assumptions. We went through a whole series of logic, and then I asked people to challenge that. And I said, is my logic right? Am I just thinking too much outside the box here? Be creative, assess and analyze, actually do a bit of brain work in really thinking about how you can practically meet your needs. And sanity check everything. Is this right? Is this right for us? Can I please just check this with you? Is my thinking right on this? There's nothing worse going into a situation with false assumptions, because you're actually going to end up more frustrated than you were at the start, and that's just demoralizing for everyone. I've been there and done that. So once you've asked and you've planned, then act. Stop sitting around and talking about it. I'm really good at that. I will talk till the cows come home. But sometimes you just need to take that courage, then you get the bit between teeth and just get on with it. Put those plans into action. And then very simply, the last thing, repeat. Don't rest on your laurels. Learn those lessons. Find the next challenge and then take time out. And then you go through that all over again. And it's a simple 6-step process. But it might not be. The next time might be to work out what your primary barrier to growth is. You might be wanting to actually, well, what is our next challenge that you want to face? Then ask, plan, act, and repeat. And in that way, hopefully over time, with tenacity, a little bit of luck, and the right contacts, you will grow. You will get there. It does take belief and a lot of self-belief, a lot of passion, a lot of dedication. But actually, if I can do it, then pretty much anyone can, I reckon. So I hope that's kind of been encouraging. If there are any questions, then please do kind of pop them on the thing. But actually, we've got a couple.
Yeah, the first one here, Stu, is from Simon, and he says, how did you take time out, and how long did you take?
Well, we took an afternoon. So I'm very good at like mithering and just thinking through things in my head and kind of working myself up into a bit of a state. And I kind of get to a stage where I go, no, just stop that, Stuart. Just grow up and do it properly. So we effectively, I came back from a meeting and said to Josh, right, we're going to turn our emails off. We're going to stop doing all the work we're doing. We're going to sit and think. And that's all we did. We just kind of took 3 or 4 hours out to sit and talk. And then obviously I had other meetings and conversations off the back of that. But it was really that kind of first 2 or 3 hours that really set the kind of the wheels in motion. And within a week, we had a job advert out there. Because I knew what we wanted to do, and I knew what we needed to do to kind of drive the business forward.
Another question coming through.
Philly has asked, so what are the steps you're taking to get in a position where you can acquire those bigger clients? Are you now focusing on smaller clients and then moving on to medium-sized and bigger ones? How long do you think this will take? As always, Philip, an excellent question. We are striving to target a slightly bigger clients than we have been currently. The person I'm recruiting will add a lot of capacity in that area. But we're also working on a couple of direct marketing campaigns and a couple of specific marketing campaigns that will target those slightly larger organisations. I'm also specifically going to the clients that we've got who are slightly large, say, look, do you know people of a similar size to you who could do with our help? And actually, people are actively going out there and helping us. I wrote a manifesto, which actually I've given to a few people, say, look, please if you know of someone, get this into their hands. Because actually, hopefully, that will really help. It'll introduce a business to our business to them in a slightly more interesting way than just, can I suggest you go and talk to Stuart? And Kevin has asked, this is good stuff, what measures am I putting into place to make sure I recruit the right person? Again, excellent question. Thank you, Kevin. So we're doing, our process is slightly different in that I'm having a half-hour meet and greet with all 6 candidates over the course of next week. It's just an informal conversation over coffee. It's that shake hands, looking them in the eye. It's kind of finding out, whether they're the right person. They'll have read the manifesto. I want to find out who they are and really kind of get underneath their skin. For me, it's more important about who they are rather than what they can do. So once we've actually kind of got that right, so once we've kind of had those first 6 conversations, and hopefully I'll be able to whittle that down to a 3, and we'll then get them in to do part interview, part creative presentation. We're going to give them the design brief the week before and actually ask them to do some creative. I want to see their creative thinking. I want to hear how they think. I want to see their work, and I will also how they then interact in a slightly more formalised kind of environment. So I hope that answers the question. But really it is about, and I'll be talking to other people and saying, actually, do you think it's the right person? I've got 1 or 2 people that I'm sharing the CVs and stuff with. But I have to admit, I'm really kind of encouraged by the quality of the candidates. If it was just on portfolio alone, I'd be struggling. Philip has asked another question. Do you think it's possible to convince us bigger clients that you can deal with bigger projects because you collaborate with other companies? Yes. What has been interesting is that even though all the organisations that we've lost out the work to or lost the work from, I said, look, we do partner with outsourced people, and they know that we do because some of them we've had very long established relationships with. There seems to be this reluctance that we're not doing it ourselves. They're fine if we're outsourcing print or outsourcing copywriting, but I think so. So, well, what if you're saying yourself as a marketing company, design company, and why aren't you doing it all in house? And so I think some organisations like it that you outsource. And that you collaborate, and that's a really big win for them. Others, they kind of want that slightly more kind of control, that slightly more kind of personal thing, and not necessarily thinking that you're just kind of project managing that. So we have tried, and we have one work where we have been quite upfront about the fact that we've collaborated. But particularly in the last few months, I guess, it's just our experience on these particular projects have been that actually they want to work with a smaller sort of, in-house team rather than a bunch of kind of outsourced people. And there's one other question, which says, how do you know what the right tone of voice is when communicating to your audience? And that's a really great question. That comes down to you. It's two things. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be honest and have integrity. So that the tone of your communications very much resembles you, very much how you, for me, it's how would I talk, and I write how I talk, and the tone of voice is how I talk and think. And for me, that's kind of really important. It's getting that balance between being professional and being serious and demonstrating that you can do the job that you're wanting to, or that you're pitching for, or that you are saying that you can do. But also kind of, for us, it's about being fun, about being passionate, about being dedicated, to trying to use words to kind of paint a picture and stuff. But obviously your tone of voice will be different from ours. But it is getting that balance right between being too serious and corporate and boring and being so informal that people don't necessarily take you seriously. The tone of voice is critical, but you also need to understand, well, what tone of voice do our audience need to hear? Because just because we talk in one way doesn't necessarily mean that that's how people want to experience you. So again, part of any good kind of journey like this is understanding your audience. And the more you understand your audience, the more you're really going to be able to, and your comms will be far more on point, and you will be far more effective and efficient. And hopefully that will see the growth that you're driving up. So I think that's all the questions that we've had.
On the questions. Thank you, Stu. So I would really like to thank Stu for hosting today's webinar. Brilliant, as always. I'll be sending out a copy of the presentation and Stu's contact details to you over the next couple of days. But before we close, just a very quick reminder, this webinar is part of our service to our Smart Room members. If you're not already a member or a BizSmart client and would like to access our archive of webinars, then please do visit our website, biz-smart.co.uk, and go to the Smart Room page. On behalf of Stu and myself, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day and join us again next week. Thank you again, everybody.
Take care. Bye.